Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Wednesday webinar. My name is Christi Holmes, as you know, and today we're going to be going through the last 3 chapters of the new Plans Development Manual. And in this webinar, we're going to be creating the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan Sheets, adding a raster to the SWPPP Sheets, loading the traffic control menu and features, importing the traffic control alignment, creating a temporary roadway, laying out and clipping the traffic control sheets, loading the utility features, and laying out and clipping the utility sheets. So before we get started, I wanted to show you one. You can find this training manual on our website under training manuals, along with all the other FDOT manuals. Also, on the Florida Department of Environmental Protection webpage, you can find a lot of information about stormwater pollution prevention plans. They have training and sample SW3P sheet information and other things like that. And there's a link to this webpage in the manual. So let's get started. And first we need to create the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan file. So we're going to do that using this Create Files tool. And we want to set, make sure your project is set correctly. The control file is roadway, and then we want to choose the roadway design files. And now towards the bottom, there should be something called Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, and that'll create that in the roadway folder. And first we need to place a plan sheet. So if you go to roadway plans under the FDOT Plans Development menu, you can find that place plan sheet icon. And then we want to set the scale to 50. You just place it out there anyway. And fit the view. And the stormwater pollution prevention notes, like all the other notes, are now placed with Link Data Manager. So we can open Link Data Manager from this row of icons up here, or we can open it from the menu. And then once it's open, you want to create a new link. And we want to create new from template. And then we have the old text file notes, the SW3P notes down here at the bottom, but we also have now them in Word documents. So if you toggle that to Word documents and select the first one and click OK, and then it's going to ask you to go out here and save it in a location. And all of this is okay, and then you want to make sure you toggle on Use the Drawing Scale and click OK. And then you just snap this border to the page border. And if you notice that some of the text is like outside of this sheet border, this is because of the settings within within Link Data Manager. If you go back and open the properties, you can change the page spacing. So if we change this to 0 and click OK, it's going to update that and make the spacing between these columns tighter, and it now will fit inside the sheet border. We have example 3 Word documents for SW3P sheets, so if you want to place more or those other sheets, you need to place another plan sheet and do the same thing. Then you have all three Word documents placed in your design file. To edit the notes, you just would right-click on the document that you want to edit in Link Data Manager and click Open Source, and that will open up the Word document. And then this portion of the document is just to let you know this is an example of a narrative for stormwater pollution prevention plans, so you can take that out. And then obviously you would have to update these notes to add the specifics for your project. So once you get finished editing the document, you just click Save and close it out, and then right click again and hit Update Now. And you'll see it took out that first little portion of the document. And then of course, once you have all your sheets complete with their notes how you want, you can use Sheet Navigator and label each one of the sheets. Now let's move on to adding a raster image to the SWPPP sheet. So some of your plans may require that you have a raster image of or a site map of your project on these sheets. So to add that, you would just go to File, Raster Manager, and then in here you'll go to File, Attach, Raster. And then you'll look for the image that you want to attach in this file, and I have one out here for this project, and click Open. And then there's a couple of things you want to make sure you set in this raster attachment options. First of all, if you want to place interactively, if you say no, it's just going to place it out there in the global origin, and it's going to make it at the scale of 1, whatever size it comes in at. If you want it to make it the size you want and place it where you want, then you click Yes. And the other thing you want to make sure you change is the level. I've had a lot of phone calls about rasters not printing, or you can't see them when you do the print view because they're on a level that's non-plotting. And there's actually a level that we created that is out here called Image Attachment under bar DP that you can place these on, and that will plot the images. And then you just click Attach, and then your cursor has like these crosshairs, and you just drag it to how big you want the raster to be, and it places it in the file. And there's a question that says the notes seem to be extending beyond the bottom of the sheet border. Yeah, I think they are like right here. All you have to do is just move them up. You can move these inside MicroStation. The border can be turned off as well in Link Data Manager. You don't have to have these borders turned on. The page boundary, you toggle that off. Oh, it's supposed to do it. Oh, there it goes. It did it on that one. Sheet 2. So now there's not a page boundary there. There are some projects that may require actual plan sheets with SWPPP information, but most should just have general notes, and then if need be, a site map. Now let's move on to the traffic control plans. In order to use traffic control features when creating traffic control plans, we need to load the traffic control menu. I'm going to close all those. And as of right now, you can see I just have the roadway menu loaded. And if you go and look under your civil tools and your feature definitions folders, you'll see there's just this Plans 2D, and then there's like 3D line work as well, but there's no traffic control folder or maintenance of traffic folder here. So if we go to standard FDOT menu configuration and toggle on this option, it's going to not only load the traffic control menu, but it's also going to load the traffic control features. And it does close out of MicroStation and reload for that reason, so that the features can be loaded. So now you'll see I have my traffic control menu, and then as well I have a folder that's called maintenance of traffic. Now that we have the traffic control menu loaded, we want to create a traffic control design file and import the traffic control alignment. So first we need to create a new file, and we'll set this to traffic control design files. And the very first one is the traffic control design. So let's just click create and then open the file. And click OK. And a lot of times you have different phases of traffic control, so I'm going to name my model phase 1 for the first phase of my traffic control plans. And so now you can either create an alignment for your traffic control, or you can import an existing alignment from a GPK file. Now for time purposes, I'm just going to import an alignment from a GPK file. So if you go from Civil Tools to General Geometry and click on this Import Geometry, and it's going to ask you which GPK file you want to import from. So I'm going to select the Job 61. And then on this Import Geometry dialog, you have alignments and curves. So I want to select an alignment, and my alignment, it doesn't have a feature yet. And then I have alignment called TCP 61. And I want to make sure when I toggle this on, I toggle off the profile, because I don't want to import the profiles that are associated, all of these profiles with this alignment. So once you have the alignment toggled on, just click import. And if you do a fit, you'll see that it imported the alignment. And then if we reference in the other design files, we can kind of see where this alignment is in reference to the project. Now we can barely see it, but here's my traffic control alignment for phase 1. And you can see that it ties into US 98 down here, and then follows the old State Road 61, and then ties back into the proposed road. And now we want to set the feature definition of the alignment. So to do that, we want to go back to General Geometry and set feature definition. And then for the feature definition, we want to make sure that we have center line toggled on. I already had this one set. And then I'm going to give it this name of center line TCP 61. And then you just locate the element that you want to set, and then reset to accept it. And then now it's given the correct level symbology and that name ZLTCP61. Now we're going to create our temporary roadway for this alignment. So from the Civil Tools, I'm going to go to Horizontal Geometry, and then I'm going to hold down this option here and go to Single Offset Partial. And this tool is kind of like the Copy Parallel command in MicroStation. It just has civil features attached to it. So before we do anything, we want to make sure that the feature definition is set correctly, and we want to use edge of pavement or pavement asphalt. And then you can give it a name, or you can leave it as is. Sometimes giving it a name makes it easier to find in the Project Explorer or when you're trying to locate different lines. So then I'm going to follow the prompts on my cursor. It says locate elements. I'm going to locate the alignment because I want to base my roadway off of that. And then it's asking me for an offset, so I'm going to give it 11 feet. And then it's asking me for a start parameter, and it's locked right now, so if you just hit Alt, it'll unlock it. And then you can use these snaps down here to snap to different intersections or places on the plan. So I'm going to snap to where these two center lines intersect. And then I'm going to Alt to lock it to the end of the alignment and data point to accept. And then it's asking me if I want to mirror. And I do. I want it on both sides of my alignment, so I'm going to toggle to yes. And so now it's placed two lines out here parallel to my alignment, two edge of pavement lines on the correct level. And if I turn this reference file off, you'll see the edge of pavement lines a little better. And then you can just like use this line between points and leave the or set the feature definition to edge of pavement, pavement asphalt, and close off your roadway if you want. Next, let's place a temporary barrier wall. So I'm going to use that single offset partial tool again. This time I'm going to set the feature to a maintenance of traffic item, which would be the temporary barrier wall. And then I'm going to base it off the edge of pavement that I created. So it's asking for an offset, so I'm going to say 0.5. Just make it really close. And then I'm going to give it a station of 465. And this is just a station based off of this edge of pavement. It's not like off of the alignment. The data point to accept, and then an end station of 1905. And if you didn't lock it to this station, you can see that it moves to different stationing as you go up and down the line. And I don't want to mirror this one. I just want to place this one single line. So just click no, and then it's placed out there with the correct feature. And all of these are tied back to the DDB, so this can be used to calculate quantities. And then I'm going to copy that line, and I want to use a single offset entire element and just copy this line 2 feet. So I make sure that I have the correct feature definition, and I'm going to locate that line, and then I give it an offset of 2 feet, and I don't want to mirror it, so I leave it at no, and then leave it like that. And then you have your barrier wall. And then again, you can go and use this line between elements to close off the wall. But you want to make sure you have the correct feature, like I did not have. You can see we have our temporary roadway with a barrier wall alongside of it. Now we have set up features for traffic control cells for things like signs and crash cushions, and you can place them with this place point tool. And if you go out here, you'll see it'll only show you the cell. If this tool is picked, it'll only show you the items that are cells. but I have a crash cushion under the maintenance of traffic. But the only problem is it doesn't allow you to set an angle before placing it. So it will just place it at the angle 0 for your design file. So you can either use this and place it in your design file and then change the angle with using element information once it's placed. Or you can still use the DDB or just the cell library if you want to place cells. It's just user preference. If you do place this one, it will be linked to the DDB if you place it with this point feature. Now I'm going to hatch the temporary roadway to finish my traffic control plans and delineate the temporary pavement area. So I want to turn on my topo file. And we'll set the level to and then I'm going to go back to the FDOT Plans Development, and I'm going to draw a line to create like a shape for the temporary pavement area. And then if you turn off the topo, and I'm going to turn off any levels that get in my way. And then if you go to the traffic control option or task flow under the FDOT Plans Development, you'll see that there's the hatch area tool and the crosshatch area tool for delineating different shapes or areas when you're doing traffic control. So I'm going to choose the hatch. And I'm going to set the spacing to 5 feet, and the angle is fine at 45 feet. And then I'm going to change the option to flood and hatch this area for the temporary pavement area. And then turn my reference files back on. You can see your temporary pavement area and your temporary roadway. Now if you wanted to do this, create the stationing for this roadway, you would do it the same way you have always done it, which is with the DDB. The center line of construction with stationing, you would choose the stationing option And then we will want to place the label scale at a scale of 50. And then you go and select the chain that you have imported. And then your stationing will be out there for that chain. And under this traffic control workflow, there's other options like draw cell group. This will be great for placing like your temporary RPMs, and then the draw sign program is there so that you can place your work zone signs and other things like that. Now that you have your temporary roadway or your traffic control set up the way you want, you would now clip your sheet. So first we need to create a file for clipping. And then you would need to reference in the files that you want to show up in your sheets. So we want the alignment, DGN, and the traffic control. And in the PPM, there's a list of what all needs to be shown on your traffic control, so you can reference that and figure out what all line work you want to show up on your sheets. And then you want to make sure you turn off the levels that don't need to be shown. And then once you have that, you just want to save your settings. And then under roadway plans, you can go to the clip sheets tool. And you can create a run, or you can just do an untitled one. And then click on the sheet composition icon and set it to by station range radial. And click on, first you want to make sure that this is set to the type of sheet you want to create. So I want to do it just a plain single, and then set the scale at 50. And then we had some questions on the last webinar I did about clipping sheets, like if you want to clip sheets using a reference file border. To do that, you would just go into the settings for that sheet library. So then you would go to File, Sheet Library, Edit, and it's going to bring up this sheet library that we provide called rdplan.psl. You can create one of your own or save it for your project, but under this general settings at the bottom, you would change this to place sheet cell once in a reference file, and then you would navigate here to the reference, the border file that you want to use. And then you want to click on this layout sheets, and we want to make sure we have the correct job number, and then double click on this first port and select the chain. And then it says layout for sheets. So click on that button, and it's laid out my clip borders in the clip file for me. So once all the sheets are laid out, click on this clip sheets, and then you want to put the output file in this. This is the directory you want to place the files, and then you have the sheet name prefix, which I've already typed in here. Leave the orientation at rotate view. We want to do one sheet per file, and we want it in the active model. And then this tells you the sheet range, where to begin and where to end for your clip borders. So once all this is set up, you can do the sheet title if you want, but this is mostly done with Sheet Navigator. Just click Process Sheets and then click OK. And then your sheets have been clipped, and if you go and look in your project directory, you'll see they've been placed out here in the output folder that you selected. And then if you want to go and view what they look like and then label the sheets, you just open one of them. And make sure everything looks good. And then of course you can use Sheet Navigator again to label the sheets. Oh, there's that plots go. And if you look at the reference files, it has all the reference files plus the clip border from your clip sheet. And then you can use, like I had shown before, the motif or live nesting to do this as well. You don't have to do it with all the files attached to your clip. You could use a motif file and do the live nesting as well. Okay, so now let's move on to the utility plans. So utility plans are typically markups that are drawn into a design file or a PDF or handwritten. But we've created utility features to make reproducing these plans easy. And in order to load the utility features, you go back to the standard FDOT menu configuration, and on the right side of the dialog, there's this include utility features. So we no longer have a utility menu. We just have this to include the utility features, and then you do update menu, and it again closes out of MicroStation and reloads it. And if you go back to the Civil Tools and the Feature Definition toggle bar, open, you'll see now there's a Utilities folder, and it has existing and proposed utilities. And it has all the different sizes of pipes and for each different type of utility. So let's create a proposed utility file. Roadway, and at the bottom there's a file for proposed utilities. And let's reference in the existing file, existing utility file, and the design file. You'll see there's some existing utilities out here for the old roadway. Now let's say we needed to add a proposed sanitary line to come down the new roadway. You would just go out here to this line between points and then make sure you have your feature set to the correct element. I'll just do 12-inch pipe. Then you would just, based off your markups or whatever you're given to place your utility line, come out here and draw your sanitary sewer based on that. And that places it at the correct level and size for the scale. And it gives it the feature of the 12-inch pipe. And we messed around with using this information to place them in the cross sections instead of using ancillary features. Unfortunately, there's a bug that doesn't allow you to scale the cell for the cross section. So, and Bentley's aware of this, so hopefully we can use these in the future to do the ancillary features for your cross sections instead of using the old tools. And basically you would do this for any type of proposed or existing utility that you need to change. And also, as a reminder, all utility lines have to be labeled. So the existing utilities should be labeled with a disposition such as to be removed or to be relocated. If not, they're assumed to remain. And then also, all overhead electric utilities must include the voltage in the label. And you can find out all this information in the PPM, what the labels should say, and what should all be included. I have a question out here. It says, what about utility cells? Just like the cells for traffic control, there's this point tool out here, and under utilities, we have all of the cells that are available, like a manhole, but they just don't come in. They don't come in at any kind of angle. It's just whatever the angle of, like a 0, 0, the angle of the design file. So you can place them. Like a manhole doesn't really matter, but other things may matter depending on what you want the angle to be. But if you choose this feature, like I said before, it'll only bring up the elements within the utilities that are cells. It even has like existing cells. Okay, so to label the utilities, we want to go back to the plans development menu. And then under the roadway plan, select this place text label tool. And then we want to set the text style to small and the dimension style to note line. And then you just give your utility a label. and place it in the file. And then to clip your utility sheets, you would follow the same steps as we have done for traffic control and for plan sheets. You would create a clip file. We can run through this real quick because I have a little extra time. And then place the clip borders in this file. And then in the PPM, I think it also tells you what all should be shown on your utility plan and what you don't have to show. And then you would just clip the sheets as we've done for the traffic control, except for give it a different prefix. And that's pretty much all I have for the webinar today. I don't see any extra questions out there that have not been answered. So if you have any questions, and then if you look in the roadway folder, you'll see I now have the utility adjustment sheets. I'm going to leave the webinar open for questions for a few more minutes, but thank you for attending. If you want to do the training manual, there's the manual and the data set at the link I showed you at the beginning of the webinar. Also, you can contact me by phone or email, and always you can contact the support email group, and somebody will help you with your questions. Thank you for attending, and have a great day.